Hey, welcome everyone. And by everyone, I mean probably no one. Let me see if I can turn this music down. How do I do that? How do I do that? Let's see. There we go. Anyway, let's see if we're live. This is just an experiment. This is an experiment to see if this is working. I am back in the U.S. Um, I'm back in the U.S. Apothecary John, awesome. Just now. So if you can see me live on YouTube, let me know. That would be good. I guess John can see me live. Is this thing on? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I hope I'm on. Let me know if you can hear me. Because I don't know how to monitor this stuff now. I tell you, this morning, I all kinds of frustration trying to get all my equipment working again. Because I'm back. I'm back in the U.S., baby. So we got a number of things to get to today. Actually, a whole lot, but probably not everything. Probably not everything. We can't do everything in one day, right? Can't do everything in one day. But yeah, see you live, hear you too. Okay, great. So we're actually on X as well. So I think. Who knows? Can you hear me now? Nice. Anyway, well, let's get to it. I wrote a little intro thing. It's been one. I still don't have everything set up, so I'm going to be looking over here to the side. I guess that's okay. Nobody cares, right? Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Let me clear that. Let's get to what is right wing. Yeah. Not sure what's going on with the Chiron there. That's a little funny. Let's see, maybe we try that. No, that still looks a little funny. Huh? How about that? Still looks a little funny. Oh well, we'll roll with it. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Political Absurdity. I'm your host, Tom Coffey, and today we're going to dive into the murky waters of political labeling. Political labeling. I'm just making sure that is off. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Taking a stroll down memory lane to see how far the pendulum of perception has swung. Yeah. Yes, I'm talking about the Overton window. As if it were a physical object, it'd be more unstable than a Jenga tower at a politician's picnic. It's the invisible force that determines what's acceptable in the wild world of politics. And let me tell you, folks, that window has been swinging like Tarzan on a six-pack of energy drinks. Because let's be honest, in today's woke wonderland, certain ideas are about as welcome as a skunk at a garden party. Supporting secure borders, well, that's like wearing a MAGA hat at a Portland coffee shop. And don't get me started on advocating for merit-based admissions or personal responsibility. That's like suggesting we bring back the mullet. Yeah. But here's the kicker, folks. And I say here's the kicker because I do that every single day. That is a stupid crutch of mine. I always have to say, but here's the kicker. Probably need a new expression for that. A mere decade ago, these ideas were about as controversial as liking pizza or hating Mondays. Back then, supporting law enforcement was not a political statement. It was common sense. And advocating for free speech, well, that was as American as apple pie. But fear not, my fellow time travelers, for in the midst of this labeling labyrinth, there's a silver lining. As the pendulum of perception swings wildly, so does our capacity for dialogue and understanding. So, let's raise a mug to political evolution. Where yesterday's right wing is today's woke, and where the only constant is the absurdity of it all. And remember, folks, in a world where labels reign supreme, it's the unlabelable who truly shine. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. All right, this is great. We got lots of chat going on both YouTube and on Rumble. I am using Rumble Studio to stream live. I figured out how to get the sound from the microphone and from my little sound effects and everything all into the same thing, so it works. Apparently, I'll have to play it back and check. But I'm glad I got that working. Anyway, I'm back in the U.S., baby. Yeah, back indeed. I was in Argentina for a month. And I was streaming exclusively on Rumble. So if you were following me on YouTube and you didn't see me for a month, well, that's where I was. I'll be talking more about that. But I want to talk about this political label, because I get this. What is right wing? And this came up, Elon. Do I have to say his last name? Musk, right? Owner of X, he responded to criticism from leftists, labeling as a right-winger and asserting his centrist political stance. He argued that his views, once considered moderate, are now perceived as right-wing due to the shifting Overton window. Musk emphasized his battle against what he called the anti-civilization woke mind virus. He defended his political beliefs, including support for secure borders and immigration control, noting that such positions were previously held by such extreme right-wingers as Obama. Musk's comments reflect frustration with being labeled as right-wing and highlight the evolving political landscape. Now, here's the thing with the term right-wing, and I am a victim of this. I am admitting that I am a victim of this. Let's see, did I? Let's see. Yeah, we got a little color around there. So I've been living in Portland for the last 20 years. It is probably maybe San Francisco, but I think Portland is the most kind of radical left-wing city in the U.S. And it's just crept in over and over and over again. Right-wing equals evil. Okay? And I got to admit that I fell victim to that narrative. For most of my life, I didn't really pay attention to the news or to politics that much. And that's just what was around me, and that's what I took in, and I just kind of accepted that. I was a sucker. I fell for all the propaganda. I did. And, in recent years, I started questioning things and looking at things. And I don't think right wing is evil at all. But for whatever reason, that label is still very negative for many parts of the country. And I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just have this reaction. If someone calls me right wing, I'm like, I'm not right wing. But here's the thing. Even if I were right wing, what's wrong with that? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. But it's just that term has such a negative connotation, at least where I live, that, you're just really defensive about it. I'm really defensive about that term. Now, I don't see myself as left-wing or right-wing or anything, really. I probably, I don't know. It's like I'm an anti-government patriot. I like the ideas, the ideals of this country, kind of the what we learned in 5th grade about what the country was built on, the Constitution and freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. I believe in that kind of stuff. That's what I want. And I'm not really for the current crap that's going on, But for whatever reason, I have this revulsion to the term right wing. And I think a lot of people do. And it's really a shame. But it's one of those things that you can't help how you initially, if someone says a word and you just kind of cringe to it, like you're not letting that soak in. That's your initial reaction to it. And when I hear right wing, I'm and I shouldn't be. I agree with a lot of people on the right. I really do, on many, many things. But for whatever reason, I still have that initial anytime I hear that term. So all the propaganda, all the corporate media that's been pushing that for the last number of decades, they've done a good job, because even though I know that I shouldn't be repulsed by that term, I still am. And I'm working on it. I'm working on that. So it's interesting. I do agree with what Elon said. One of the things that he says is that he hasn't changed. It's just society's changed, you know. That's not the case for me. I've changed. I'm not the same person I was when I started this channel at all. Not even close. My view of corporate media, my view of my own government, my view of, you know, the permanent state of this government, it's all changed. It's all changed based on me learning more about it, you know, and learning more about how the system works and everything. So I don't think that I'm the same person. I believe that I really have shifted. However, I still don't think that I would consider myself right or left wing. I used to think of myself as like a left wing hippie, you know, just like an anti-war hippie. But the left today seems to be all in favor of war. I can't get on board with that. So I don't know. So I'm not defining who I am. I'm just kind of rejecting this right wing, left wing label. But I do want to say that I don't think that right wing is this boogeyman. But I just want to acknowledge that framing has worked on me. It has. Even though consciously I shouldn't be resistant to that term, right? I am. So I'm just acknowledging that. But it really does come down to what is right wing. You know, that's kind of an interesting thing. I think that Elon's term of anti-civilizational woke mind virus, I think it's accurate, but I don't think it's persuasive. I don't think that anyone that is consumed with wokeness or believes that they're, you know, the left-wing do-gooder or something like that, I don't think it's going to have any impact on them at all. In fact, it might have a backfire effect. You know, even if it's true, I think it may have a backfire effect. I don't think it is the most persuasive way to get people to change is to tell them that they're part of a mind virus. You know, I just don't think that that's really good. But, you know, maybe you're not trying to change anyone's mind. You're just calling it as you see it. So anyway, that was the idea that I just wanted to start the show off with today. There are so many things that have been happening. There are so many new ideas that I have and so much has happened over the past month of my life. I'll get to all of that, not today, but over the next couple of weeks, sharing that with you. It's been a fascinating journey. Let's just say that. But now let's get into some breaking news. Breaking news. And I will do the breaking news if oh, there we go. I got the mouse working. Let's get into the breaking news. Yes, Princess Kate, this is sad, has cancer. In a video statement, Princess Catherine, it's funny, I always know her as Kate Middleton, and I should know her name is Catherine, but for whatever reason, I was like, Princess Catherine, who's that? In a video statement, Princess Catherine revealed that she is undergoing preventative chemotherapy for cancer, which was discovered after her abdominal surgery in January. The princess is confident in her full recovery and sends a positive message, thinking of all those affected by cancer. BBC Studios filmed the video of the princess on Wednesday, and the BBC has been briefed on the announcement. No music. No music. Let me check this out. Let me make sure I got okay. Too many mice here. Too many mice. All right. Oh, that's what I did. I turned it. That's what I did. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna get some music here. Hang on. And there we go. How's that? We got some music, right? New little fun music for the show. All right. Okay, there we go. I think we got the music back. Okay. But thank you for telling me. I'm still obviously learning how to use all this dumb equipment. Anyway, so there's been so much speculation as to what was going on with Kate Middleton. Was she having did she have a Brazilian butt lift, right? Was she having plastic surgery to get a bigger booty, right? That's what some people were speculating. Maybe it went wrong. That's why hasn't been seen in public. Well, you all are terrible human beings because she has cancer. And that's why she hasn't been seen in public. That's terrible. I don't think they announced what kind of cancer it is. Hopefully it's one that is no music. Okay. I'm going to have to play back this whole thing and see exactly how everything worked. I don't think they announced what kind of cancer she has. I hope that it's like the most benign of all cancer, and I wish everyone no cancer. I'm still waiting. I thought Joe Biden said he would cure cancer if he was elected president. That's one of the things he said. But I guess we'll have to wait on that one. Anyway, so that should hopefully end some speculation as to what was happening with Kate Middleton. All right, so let's see if we get the music in this next bumper. Let me try that one more time. Okay. I think it worked. Well, we have some other breaking news. This is more terrible news. It's terrible news. A horrific terror attack has struck Moscow, resulting in numerous casualties and injuries. Gunmen dressed in combat fatigues stormed the Crocus City Music Hall during a concert, opening fire with automatic weapons and detonating explosives. Photos and videos captured the chaos as panicked attendees fled for safety. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin labeled it a great tragedy with at least a dozen dead and many more wounded. Reports suggest up to 5 attackers participated, reminiscent of past European terrorist incidents. Emergency services responded with dozens of ambulances. Eyewitnesses described the attackers as bearded, armed with AKM assault rifles. Recent warnings from Western countries, including the U.S., about potential attacks during public gatherings in Russia raised concerns. Authorities had previously conducted raids against Islamist militants in the region. Exact motives of the culprits behind the attacks remain unclear at this time. Nope, neither time. Well, I'm going to have to double check on a little music going through. I think it's going through, but perhaps maybe it's only set to one speaker or something. Who knows? I don't know. But this was terrible. I actually saw some video footage. This was a concert hall, and I guess they were between axe or something like that. The house lights were on, and people came in and just started shooting. And then it looked like it was maybe attached to a mall, and there were guys in fatigues running around shooting with assault rifles. Very scary situation. I know that the U.S. Embassy had posted a warning, I think a couple days ago, warning to not go to any public events in Moscow because there was an imminent terror attack. So this is something that they were expecting, or that some were expecting. Scary stuff. And it's yeah, I don't know what else to say. Horrible. Horrible. And yeah, I just hope that there's no, I don't know, hope for the best for all. So anyway, lastly, let us get to, we'll get to some good news, because this is some good news. You're going to like this. Okay. Jasmine Paris, known for her remarkable feats in endurance races, is currently attempting to make history at the Barkley Marathons. This is currently happening right now at this moment. She's the first woman to reach the 5th and final loop of the race, aiming to become the first female to complete the listen to this, 5 20-mile loops within 60 hours. Paris gained attention after winning the Montaigne Winter Spine Race in 2019, where she expressed breast milk for her daughter while dominating the 268-mile course. Her previous attempts at the Barkley Marathons in 2022 and 2023 shown promise, with her achieving significant milestones despite challenges such as fatigue and chronic knee injury. Paris's determination, supported by her coach, reflect her commitment to pushing her limits. With global support rallying behind her, Paris aims to emulate the achievements of past Barkley Marathon finishers. Whether she will accomplish this feat remains to be seen. So she is on the last loop. This is a 100-mile race, and there's not many people in it. And it was trending earlier on X. It's probably still trending. I don't have it pulled up. But the way that it works is, I guess you have certain, you have to make certain times to keep going, right? And she's now on the very last loop, the last 20-mile loop. And when it came in, there are not many people that are actually finishing this race. So this is quite an achievement. First woman to ever make it to the last loop. And I did see a video clip. It was really sweet and shows ultimate sportsmanship. I guess every other person that comes through goes a different way. You either you take the clockwise loop or the counterclockwise loop. And there was a guy who was finishing, who came in, and Jasmine was after him. And they asked him, which way do you want to go? Because the first person to come in can choose to go clockwise or counterclockwise. I guess one way was a little bit easier than the other. And so he let Jasmine go the last loop on the route that was, not that any of these loops are easy. This is a 20-mile loop through a mountain, right? This is really hard. But he let her go on the route that she would be most likely able to finish. And that was just a sign of pure sportsmanship, because he didn't have to do that. And the people aren't competing against each other. You're just kind of competing against yourself. But that was true sportsmanship. This is happening as we speak. There's maybe a couple hours left in the race. So you can go to X, and what trended earlier was, I think it was small European woman, like hashtag small European woman, something to that effect, which was trending because she was doing so well in this race. And it really is a positive story, a true feat that, you know, the most elite of elite of elite would be able to do this crazy marathon. You probably even haven't heard of this because it's so crazy. It's so out there. 5 20-mile loops in 60 hours, right? So what would that be? Let's see, 5 into 60. What's that, 12? So you got 12 hours to do 20 miles? Wow. Yeah. And then you just do that 4 more times after that. Absolutely crazy. So I think that's the good news story of the day. I hope that you're able to check this out and maybe read some articles on it or some tweets on it. I think it's a really uplifting story. I'll probably have an update next week on this, just because it's very inspirational. And I tell you what, I watched a little video where the guy let her go on the course he wanted to. I teared up a little bit. I welled up a little bit. I'm a softie, but this was just really something. Because I couldn't do one loop. I couldn't do one loop of this. To do 5 loops, 20 miles, treacherous terrain, that you know, you have the little poles and everything so you don't fall down. That's crazy. Anyway, that's all the good news I have today. Stick around for the after show. I'll be going through all your comments and just let you know what's happening with me. So apparently, it worked. I was able to get this working. So let's get into the after show, and I'll go through all your comments. I'll be back. I think I have a show on Monday. That's the only one I have planned, but I want to do one at night too. I'll just have to see how things go. Anyway, have a beautiful weekend. Peace. No, that's not it. Okay, I don't know how to put I don't know how to put the stuff on the screen. Yeah, so I won't. I don't know how to put the chat on the screen, but lots of people checking in at the beginning. I just want to give a shout out to everyone. Apothecary John, thanks for checking in. Tobias is here. Erie Fairy, checking in. Lucid Moments, nice. That's right. Flame On, got the coffee. Natasha's in the house. So yeah, I appreciate everyone checking in. Oh, is Gonzo here too? Lego How. Good to see you. Welcome back. I'm glad to be back. And I think scrolling through. Yeah, mainly just that. But let's, talking about the right-wing stuff. Lucid says, right wing, left wing, I've never seen anybody categorized as the bird itself. It's always the extreme. Yeah. Natasha says, I think right-wing folks are perceived as greedy. That's what I learned as a kid, right? I'm really glad to see you're back. Thank you, John. It's good to be back. When the mainstream media started using right wing disparagingly, it became a compliment, and I wish I could take that. It's so funny when you've just had a term that you've reacted to in a certain way for so long. It's hard to get your mind to switch. Natasha says, I cringe when someone calls another person loser. I'm wondering if God does too. I don't know, but I would hope that God has a sense of humor, right? But yeah, I don't know. We need more positivity. Oh, Ox is here. What's up, Ox? Lucid says, always labeled as an extremist, never just concerned. Being patriotic and concerned is an extreme. I agree wholeheartedly. Ox says, I grew up in a pure blue Democrat state, and at the time growing up, the ideals of free speech and patriotism was taught. I don't recognize it at all, what is now called the Democrat Party. I don't either. It's funny, and I think of like patriotism, right? Being patriotic doesn't mean that you're supporting all the BS that the CIA is doing overseas, right? Don't get that twisted. I think being patriotic is for me, it's going to the ideals of the country, of the founding of the country, Constitution, free speech. All men are equal, all of the positive things that the country's done, not the negative things, right? It's the same way when we think about our family, right? We should be proud of, the things our family does. They did some cool things. Awesome. If they did some shady stuff, well, we're not celebrating that. We're celebrating the good things. And I think it's the same thing with patriotism. We're celebrating the good parts. And it could be, Tom, you're just being selective. Yes, that's the point. I'm being selective. Let's see. I just want to check. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm being selective. Absolutely. You celebrate the good things, and you don't celebrate the bad things. And in the same way, when we're celebrating July 4th, Independence Day, red, white, and blue, all that stuff, we're celebrating the good things about the country. And people say, what about the bad stuff? I'm like, yeah, I'm not celebrating that. Right? In the same way, your kid does well and does well on a test. You celebrate him doing great on the test. You don't celebrate him, I don't know, being late for school or, whatever, the bad thing, right? You're celebrating the good. We celebrate the good, not the bad. I don't know why that's so hard for people to get, but they do. Tobias is here, says, right wing used to be a lot more pro-war, pro-multinational corporation, pro-unchecked capitalism, anti-conspiracy theory. We are free agents, Tom. I like that, free agents. I really like that. Maybe that'll be my next talk. I'm a free agent. Because I don't feel like I'm part of a team. At all. I really like that, free agent. I'm going to have to make a note of that. So thank you, Tobias is here. That was good. I wonder if she has carcinoid syndrome, which my dad had. It wasn't discovered until he had exploratory abdominal surgery. Ooh. Yeah, she did have abdominal surgery, so perhaps it has something to do with her stomach. But I don't know, and as far as I know, they haven't released any information on that yet. So just wishing her the best. Biden's trying to cure us of our liberty. Well, seems accurate. Natasha says, I never heard of the Barkley Marathon. I'd never heard of it either. I guess it's in Tennessee. Is that in the Barkley Mountains. And I think that's, did I say Tennessee? Oh, I didn't say. I didn't even say where it is. Let me see if I can. It's in Frozen Head State Park in Morgan County, Tennessee. Wow. Crazy. Crazy. But yeah, I'd never heard of it either until I saw this trending on X. I'm a big fan of X. I know I keep telling people, get an account on X. I think it really is a great way to, if you just want to check in on what's going on in the world. And sometimes, like with this story, you come across something fun and inspirational, something to bring you up on a day that maybe you need to be brought up. So I think it's a good, I believe in it. That's why I have the blue check. I do kind of think that having free speech on Twitter is saving the country. And I know that sounds a bit hyperbolic, a bit out there. But that's what I believe. Erie Ferry says, that's good you were able to change your perspective, Tom. Not many people do that. Well, I don't know. The thing is, people could change their perspective. They just might not tell you. That's the thing. You only know what people tell you. And often, right, we don't talk about these things because they're hard to talk about. MMA checking in, listening while working. Hope everyone has a great weekend too. Well, thank you. I hope you have an awesome weekend. King Dante, because white supremacists don't want to pay that 400-year check. Okay. Not sure what that means. A lot of times when we have really pithy, short comments, I'm very literal. I'm a very literal person. And so sometimes I might not catch the reference. But anyway, thanks for your comment. I live in Tennessee and never heard of it. Lucid, you've never heard of the Barkley Marathons? Well, it sounds like an exciting event. Although, I mean, it's 60 hours, so I'm not sure you would want to be hanging out and watching it. You're there on the side of a mountain and every couple hours someone runs by. Probably not that exciting, but it's something new to know about. It seems like Elon is trying his best. It's not an easy task to go against the machine. It's not. And I think the machine is much bigger and more complicated than anyone realizes. And that's something that I've been coming to terms with recently. So I did want to tell you just a little bit about my trip. I think I want to do like a special video where I talk about my trip to Argentina, just so that I could have it all in one video, and I'll do like a bunch of questions about my trip. But yeah, I came back from Buenos Aires. I was down there for a month. I did stream on Rumble most nights down there. So if you want to check out any of those streams, I'm not saying they were good streams, but I did stream most nights while I was down there from my Airbnb. But I had a really great experience, and I got to see some things, some things that I hadn't realized. And then some own personal things that happened to me were really crazy. And I'll go into that on another day, just because they were so big. I need some time to get into it. But I think one of the big things is, if we only know where we are and we don't explore, if we don't go to another city, we don't know what other cities are like. If we don't go to another country, we don't know what other countries are like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I was fortunate that as a teenager, I moved to Europe. for a year. And then I had some pretty cool jobs where I got to travel the world and lived in the Arctic and the South Pacific and Africa and all over the place. And that had a big impact on me, just being able to see different perspectives. Um, but yeah, 60 hours. I thought NASCAR was long, but yeah, 60 hours is crazy. Lucid says, what was the best thing you did down there? I think when I travel now and when I've gone to places like, last year, Mexico City, and I went to Medellin, Colombia, what I like doing is just going to the one place and just hanging out there and not going off and doing all the tourist stuff that I could do, not doing little day trips all around and just filling all my time. Let me just see what it's like to live there. And that's what I did in Buenos Aires. I just wanted to see what it was like to live there. I stayed in an area of town called Recoleta. That was kind of the older part of town. It's near the cemetery where Evita Peron is buried, but it's the famous cemetery in Buenos Aires. There's lots of beautiful parks. Buenos Aires is often called the Paris of Latin America because of the architecture. It's all very reminiscent of Paris. Beautiful. The sidewalks are really wide, and they're not concrete, right? These are like tiled sidewalks. They're really nice, wide, 10-foot wide sidewalks. Beautiful. So I was in an old part of town. I was staying in a beautiful place. Actually, the room I was in was a converted dining room, but beautiful wood floors. The trim work was all great. I had a chandelier. I mean, it was a gorgeous place. And I had a great host named Juan, who I really gelled with. Really cool guy. And what I did was every morning I would get up and I grab my laptop and I just go to a different coffee shop, get my café con leche, right, in the morning. And sometimes they'd have a little thing where you could get a little morning special. So they'd have like 2 media lunas, which were like cheap croissants, and a coffee with milk. And they'd give you a little shot glass of soda water, just because that's a nice, refreshing thing to have, and a little thing of orange juice. It was $2.50 or something like that. Really good price. And I would sit there, had great Wi-Fi, and just start the day that way. And that was really nice what a beautiful way to start the day. I live here in Portland, and I'm very blessed. I have a great house, and I live in the suburbs, but I can't walk to a coffee shop. The closest thing to me is there's a drive-through Starbucks. I don't even like Starbucks, though. But there's no coffee shops I can walk to. And where I was staying in Buenos Aires, I could walk to, I don't know, at least 24 different coffee shops that were all within, 10-minute walk. It was just lovely. It was just really nice. And so one of the things that I realized being where, and the thing is, right now, currently, Argentina is going through all kinds of turmoil. They've got a new president. He's the first libertarian, anarcho-capitalist president ever in the world, as far as I know, Javier Milei. And I wanted to see what it was like firsthand. And so they've had inflation, over 100% inflation. So they've been dealing with that. There's lots of currency issues. Everybody that I talked to, they did like Milei. But it was one of these things that they had to look around to make sure no one else could hear. Okay. Because it was still not quite acceptable. In fact, I wanted to get like a Milei t-shirt or coffee mug or mate mug or something, There was no merchandise for the president anywhere. It didn't exist. And I was told that that was the case because there might be violence. The Antifa types down there, the communists in Argentina would probably firebomb the store if someone decided to sell Malay merchandise. I didn't see any violence whatsoever. In fact, I was there 4 weeks, and I've repeated this many times. Outside of the soccer match I went to, I didn't hear a single person raise their voice in anger. Not one time. No one raised their voice. No one was loud. It was incredible. And how polite everyone were, even at the grocery store or lining up for the bus, showed me that it's not money, right? Because the average salary there was like $300 a month. And yet these people were all polite. They were all well behaved. No one was pushing. No one was shoving. No one was no one was cutting in line. It was just pleasant. It was just so nice. And I was like, we could have that here too. If the mentality of people in the U.S. would change, where we went back to the golden rule, maybe back to small town ethics, right? Where we looked out for each other, where we cared about each other. We could have that. And but this was a big city, right? Buenos Aires proper was 4 million. And then if you take in the metro area, it's like 16 million people. So this is a big city. And everyone was nice. And I didn't feel threatened anywhere. I didn't feel unsafe anywhere. There were lots of police everywhere. There were police. I'd never seen that many police in a country. And they did have some things that they did actually better there than they do here. In Portland, they consider themselves to be this cutting edge progressive city, but we can't seem to get bike lanes right. Bike lanes in Buenos Aires, they had little parking barriers. They had little cement barriers so you could ride and you were semi-protected, from a car coming in. Here, what do we got? We got a stripe of paint. I don't feel safe if there's a stripe of paint between me and somebody driving, 45 miles an hour. That doesn't make me feel safe. So the fact that this country, this poor country, is able to do some things a lot better than what we can do just shows that they have priorities. To me, it looks like the priority is the citizens, is the people. And here, it doesn't seem to be the priority, is people. But that's just my take. I don't know why Argentina can have a nicer city bus than what I have in Portland. I don't know why they can have a nicer subway than the light rail that I have here in Portland. The fact that one is safe and there's no drug addicts on public transportation and being menacing everywhere, but that's what I have to deal with here in Portland. They're doing a whole lot of things better over there, and so it's nice to see that. But it is nice to just be reminded that there are other ways of doing things, and not everything you're doing is the right way. And I'm not saying that everything was better in Argentina, because it wasn't, obviously. But there were some things, and I think the kindness and the calmness that I saw there was remarkable. Now, there were some things about it that just kind of struck me as being kind of odd. That wouldn't happen here. For example, at the soccer matches. Okay, so first of all, at the soccer match, there was no liquor sales. There was no beer sales whatsoever. Okay, so that's out. Right? Also, they don't allow opposing fans or anyone wearing opposing fans' jerseys, because I guess in the the fights break out over the the different teams, fans in the crowd. And so they just didn't, it was unacceptable, right? If you go to a game, you can dress to support the local team, and that's it. You may not wear the opposing team's jersey or colors. You're not allowed in the facility. So, that may be a little less freedom, right? But it was very calm. It was very nice. So I think we got to weigh all of these things about what is and what isn't. What do we want? What do we want? I think, right, I would want a big sports stadium. You would want to be able to go in supporting whatever team you wanted to. That should be your freedom. So they were making some concessions about that. And so, yeah, you can't have everything. And so what's better? A place where they don't sell beer and they don't allow opposing fans to wear their colors? And yet it was a very nice, calm, family-friendly place. Or a totally rowdy place with opposing fans and beer. They're both of those are okay, right? Both of those are okay. It's just deciding what do you want. I've been to both. I like both. I enjoyed both, I was at a match in Medellin, Colombia, where they sold beer and different fans and whatnot, and it was a lot of fun. It was slightly scary, but it was a lot of fun. I went to a match in Mexico City, and they actually separated the fans. So they had a section where the opposing fans could sit, and they had fencing up with barbed wire and armed guards on both sides. Okay. So the thing is, we have different ways of doing things in different places. And it's just nice to see things tried different ways. And I think that we should be open to looking at different ways and, picking and choosing what would be better. Because that's what makes life good, right? I think for bike lanes, I think just putting a stripe on the street doesn't do anything, and it doesn't make me feel safe. And I'm not going on a bike lane that just has a stripe of paint, protecting me. What's protecting me from the F-150? A stripe of paint. Well, that doesn't cut it, okay? And frankly, it's embarrassing that these other countries can do a better job at things than we can do here in America. We often say that, this is, USA number one. Well, get me a bike lane. Can you get me a bike lane that's protected? Anyway, and yeah. So anyway, it was really a nice vacation. One of the things that I came to terms with over the vacation, I've been looking more and more into different political things, and I may have even shifted a bit more. To be, maybe I'm even a bit more out there than I was before. So I'll probably tell you a bit more about that in the future. Erie Ferry says, I'd rather have freedom. I'm all for freedom, and the thing is, right, everything's a balancing act. There's pros and cons. There's trade-offs for everything. So for example, right, if you wanted total freedom, you could have a road and you wouldn't have a yellow stripe down the middle, right? Because you want total freedom. I want to drive on whatever part of the road I want to drive on, right? I don't need stoplights because I'll go through whatever I want to go through, right? I mean, if we want to go to the extreme, right? That would be extreme freedom. Right? It was like, I don't know, I kind of like having the yellow line in the middle of the road so that we go, we have a society. I kind of like the fact that we have some lights just so that, we're, just for safety. But there's not as much freedom with traffic lights as there would be without traffic lights, right? So there's just trade-offs in these things. But yeah, I would really like a bike lane that I was protected. that's what I would like. And I'm not saying I need a bike lane on every street, no. But if you're going to put up a bike lane, and I'll just go so far as to this. There should be at least one north-south bike lane that goes through town. Just one. I mean, just one. Can you give me one that's protected? One protected bike lane, north and south through a city of 750,000 people, right? Because there's like 750,000 people in Portland proper. Give me one bike lane that goes north-south, one that goes east-west that's protected, that it's just not a stripe of paint on the side of a road where people are riding 50 miles an hour, because that's not a bike lane. So yeah. Let's see. Got a comment here from MMA. When I was a smoker and they banned smoking in bars, etc., it was actually kind of nice, even though inconvenient to me personally. Happy to have kicked the habit though. Yeah, back in the day, when I was doing some stand-up comedy 20 years ago or whatever, we had smoking in bars, and that was the one thing that I hated about it. I hated hanging out for hours in a place and just like smelling like smoke. That was actually one of the reasons I got out of it. I couldn't stand hanging out in places and then walking away and just my hair smelled like smoke and everything smelled like smoke. I didn't like that at all. Is there more freedom where you can smoke? Of course. But again, it's just trade-offs, and you just have to decide on that. Great show, Tom. Bye, rest of the chat. Have a great weekend, everyone. Glad you're back. Thanks, Lucid. I appreciate that. This damn heart emoji blocks the text of the most recent comment. Please complain on my behalf, Tom. Oh, well. Sorry about that. And Lucid says, I've got the same complaint. Okay. It's kind of messed up when they retroactively install bike lanes on busy city streets. Yes, it's true. But the thing is, I've been to cities where they've done it and it works, right? What you have to do, because here's the thing, and I know like everything's a trade-off, right? But if you actually had a decent bike lane that was protected, then you might get more people that would want to bike to work, or to bike to a friend's house, or bike to get groceries, or whatever it happens to be. And guess what? Every person that's on a bike, that's taking a car off the road. Okay? So if you want less cars on the road, if you can get more people over into a bike lane, then there's less cars. There's less traffic. But you gotta make it safe. You can't have it. I've been hit in my car, and I've had three cars totaled. And it was never my fault. Someone ran a red light, T-boned me one time. Another time I was just waiting at a red light. Someone was not paying attention. They ran into the back of me. Maybe it was only 2 cars that were totaled. I can't remember. How I lost that other car. Don't remember. Yeah, I think it was only 2 then. But if I were on a bicycle, I'd be dead. And that's why I'm so kind of hung up on the bike safety. Natasha says, I helped stop indoor smoking. Letter to the editor of Army Post newspaper started the ball rolling. Well, that's good. Tom, you need to start a petition for more bike lanes. We've got plenty of bike lanes in Portland. We've got a bike lobby in Portland. I don't know why we just can't get a protected lane. We just need a protected lane. Just, just the little bumpers or the little, when you go into a parking lot and they have the little thing at the end where you're parking bumper, I guess, it's about like this high and about, like that wide. What are those called? Just put those along the side of the road. It's not hard. We're not reinventing the wheel or anything here, but just do something to make it a little bit safer. So anyway, yeah, but there's like, for example, there's a street here that they have a bike lane on, and it's also the same street that has the most accidents anywhere in the state. Okay. So they call it like high risk corridor. Okay. So there's accidents there all the time, and they've just painted a little stripe on the side of the street for the bikes. Is that where you want to bike? Because that's not where I want to bike. That's not at all, So yeah. I don't know. Everything looks crooked. Local politics just seems really crooked here. They come up with programs, they get millions of dollars, and then like nothing happens, or they do something really shoddy. I don't know. But I don't want to put my energy into it. There's other things I want to put my energy into, such as perhaps making this show better. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I really appreciate y'all. And I will, I got to figure out exactly what I'm doing with this show, but it's something for me to think about. Hope all of your brackets are doing well in March Madness. I'm still in there. I think I'm second place in my pool. So, knock wood. Anyway, y'all have a super weekend. I will catch you next time. Peace.